Welcome once again to Mathematics Made. Today on Mathematics Made, we want to solve further problems in fractional indices. Remember, there is need for you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook at Mathematics and Science Made. Also, watch our videos, like our videos, leave a comment, and share our videos with your friends. Okay, for you to actually follow us in this particular part of fractional indices, there is need for you to watch the previous videos so that you will understand the rules that we have been using in solving problems in fractional indices. So let's begin this wonderful journey on fractional indices. We have about 7 questions that we want to solve. Yes, about 7 of them. So we are going to do justice to them. There is no cause for alarm. We are asked to simplify all this. So we begin with the first question, question 1. We are asked to simplify 36 raised to power half times 8 raised to power negative 2 over 3. Okay. We say when we want to solve problems in fractional indices, we need to take note of the word, of the term, or the word expression. Now in this case, we have 2 terms, so this is an expression. After taking note, the second step, if you watch the previous video, the second step will be to remove the negative sign in the power, if there is any negative sign in the power here. We can see we have a negative sign here. So we're going to have 36 raised to power 1 over 2 times. Let's remove this negative sign. It's going to be 1 over 8 raised to power 2 over 3. That's it. Okay, then we'll write the terms in root power form. So let's write it in root power form. 36 raised to power half now is square root of 36 to power of 1. Now power of 1 will not change anything. I explained in the previous video that any number raised to power of half is just the square root of the number. If I have 9 raised to power half, it's just square root of what? 9. It's square root of 9. Because if you put this power of 1, 9 raised to power 1 is still 9. Okay? Times 1 over, this will now be cube root of 8 raised to power 2. The root power form. So the power now is 2, which is the numerator of the fraction, and the root is 3. So cube root of 8 raised to power 2. So you distribute these numbers on the base 8. This becomes the power of this, that's this. Why this become its root? So the root power form of the number. We explained that in the previous video. So we can now simplify. What is square root of 36 is 6. Then we can evaluate the root. What is the cube root of 8? Cube root of 8 is 2. But remember, we have not touched the power. We only did cube root of 8. The power is still there. So it means we need to put our power. Remember also that we say you can also evaluate the roots, the power first. That means I have to say 8 raised to power 2 to give me what? 64. So I will be talking about cube root of 64 because I evaluated the power what first. So this will now give me 6 times 1 over 2 raised to power 2. 2 raised to power 2 is 4. And cube root of 64 is 4. So if we evaluated the power first, we'll still have what? We'll still have 4. Okay? So this will now give me, can reduce to lowest term now. 6 times this is 6 all upon 4. And when 2 divide, we have 3 over 2. Or I can write it as 1 whole number 1 over 2. So the whole of this is just 1 whole number 1 over 2. If you go through it again, this square root, this 1 over this, because of the negative sign, find the cube root is 2 to power of 2. So 1 over 4, 6 times 1 is 6, all upon 4. 2 here is 3, 2 here is 2. And we have this. So that's the first question. So quickly, we look at the second question. Look at the second question. Because of space, we have to wipe this immediately. Look at the second question. So question number 2. Question number 2. We have 18 over 32 raised to power 1 minus 3 over 2 times 64 over 27 raised to power minus 1 over 3. Okay? So we have taken note of this. We need to move to this next step. The next step is to remove the negative sign in the power, if there is, and we can see we have negative sign. And to remove that, we usually invert the fraction. We use the rule a over b raised to power minus m over n is same thing as b over a raised to power m over n. You just see that we inverted this particular this particular fraction, that's the base. But it will not affect the power. The power remains the same. So I'm going to write this as 32 over 18 raised to power 3 over 2 times 27 over what? 64 raised to power 1 over 3. So I've removed the negative sign. Now, if you look at this closely, let's write it in root power form. Let's write it in root power form now. Something will happen along the line. So if we write this in root power form, this will be square root of 32 over 18 raised to power what? 3. 2 is the root, 3 is the power. So we distribute 2 and 3 on the what? On that base. So the 2 is the root, taking this position, 3 is the what? Is the power. So times, this will give me cube root now. Cube root of what? 27 over 64, all raised to power 1. 1 is the numerator, so that's the power. 3 is the denominator, becomes the root. Now, we cannot find square root of what? 32. Not that it doesn't exist, but 32 is not a perfect square. So square root of 32 will be in decimal, be around maybe 5 point something. So that's square root of 32. Likewise, we cannot find a perfect square root of 18 as a whole number, because 18 is not a perfect square. But if you look at this closely, you discover that 32 and 18 are what? They have a common factor. They have a common factor. That means I can reduce this to lowest term. Now, if you get to this point, that's why you need to think. Sometimes we think outside the box in order to solve equation. Now, if you get to this point, someone may look at this and say, square root of 32. What's square root of 32? What's square root of 32 again? Square root of 32 will be in decimal. It's not a perfect square. So you may start forcing it. You may start forcing to get a decimal, and that will mess up your what? Your solution. So the first thing will be, let's reduce this to lowest term. So we are going to have now square root of 2 divide this will give us what? 16, and 2 divide 18 will give us 9. So this becomes this times cube root of 27 over 64. That's what we have, because if you raise it to power of 1, it is still what? It is still 27 over 64. So now we can now evaluate our root. What is the square root of 16? The square root of 16 is 4. And what square root of 9 is 3. We have used the square root on this, but the power is still there, so we'll keep our power. Times, what is the cube root of 27? It is 3. And what's the cube root of 64? It is what? It is 4. So we can now evaluate. 4 raised to power 3 is what? 64. And 3 raised to power 3 is what? 27. Times 3 over 4. Now 4 can divide itself and divide 64. So when 4 divides itself is 1. Dividing 64 is 16. When 3 divides itself is 1. Dividing 27 is 9. So we have 16 over 9, which is actually one whole number, 7 over 9. Okay? That's the second question. The second question. The question is, it's a beautiful one. Very interesting question. So we look at the third one. The third question, we have 25 raised to power minus 1 over 2 times 36 raised to power minus 1 over 2 times 8 raised to power 2 over 3. We are asked to simplify that. So we'll do that. Question 3 now. Question 3. Remember, I said from the beginning that we have to be patient and patient and patient. Yes, we have to be patient. So, question number 3. We have 25 to power minus 1 over 2 times 36 to power minus 1 over 2 times 8 to power 2 over 3. Okay? We have two terms here that have negative sign in the power, so we have to remove that. So this becomes 1 over 25 raised to power 1 over 2 times 1 over 36 raised to power 1 over 2 times 8 raised to power 2 over 3. Okay? So we write them in root power form. So this will become 1 all upon square root of what? 25 times 1 all upon square root of 36 times cube root of 8 raised to power 2. This is the root, so cube root of 8 to power of 2. Distribute these two. This is the power, this is the root. So this is the power. It has been assigned as the power of 8. While this is the root, it picks up this. So that's what it means to write the number in root power form in fractional indices. Okay? So if we go again, what is the square root of 25 is 5 times 1 over square root of 36 is 6. Then times, what is cube root of 8? Cube root of 8 is 2. We just did the cube root, remaining the power, so the power is still there. All I found here is I have to find the word cube root first before the power. Or you can still find the power first by doing 8 raised to power 2 before finding the cube root. So the only thing I did here was just to get the cube root of 8 without touching the power. Now the power still remains. So that will give us 1 over 5 times 1 over 6 times what? 4. So if you reduce the lowest term, this is 2, this is 3. Nothing can divide again. 1 times 1 times 2, you give us 2. 5 times 3 is what? 15. So we have this. That's question number 3. So we move to number 4. Number 4 is a beautiful question. All these are all beautiful. Beautiful and also simple. Remember, at the end of the day, we are going to give you the ones you are going to solve. Yes. So question 4. Question 4. Question number 4. We are asked to simplify 81 raised to power 1 over 4 times 27 raised to power minus 1 over 3 divided by what? 64 raised to power 1 over 3. If I'm the one solving, in order not to run into confusion, I can bring this up using division sign, but I can still do another thing. Let's see. This is 81 raised to power 1 over 4 times 1 over 27 raised to power 1 over 3 all over 64 raised to power 1 over 3. Right? You know why we have 1 over? We have a negative power here, so we need to remove the negative power using the appropriate rule or law in logarithm. Okay, so we can begin to write everything in root power form. So in root power form, this becomes 4th root of 81 to power of 1, and to power of 1 is 381, so times 1 over cube root of 27 to power of 1. This is the power, which power of 1 will not affect the value of this, all upon cube root of 64 to power of 1, which the power of 1 will not affect that. So what is the cube root of, what is the 4th root of 81 is 3 times 1 over, what's the cube root of 27 is still 3 divided by, what's cube root of 64 is going to be 4. Then you notice that the numerator here, the whole of this can take care of themselves, and the whole of the numerator we are left with 1 at the end of the day. This 1 and this 1. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 over 1 is 1. So we have 1 all upon what? All upon 4. Yeah. Very simple. You know, at the beginning, you will be looking at it and say, how am I going to go about this? What you say? It's actually simple. Very, very simple. Okay. We're making progress. So let's look at the 5th question. Let's look at the 5th question. The 5th question. In the 5th question, we have question number 5. Cube root of 4 raised to power 1.5. Okay. Wow. Somebody will be shouting, what am I going to do? There's nothing here. There's nothing so difficult here. It's just very simple. So you remember that we say that a raised to power m over n is something as what? N roots of a raised to power what? M. Do you agree? So you see, this number here is this n. This is the m. That means it is already in this form. Let me move this from this form to this form, right? Let me move this. It's in this form. You know, most of the questions we have been solving they have been in this form, and we pull it from this form, that's the fractional indices form, to root power form. Now the question is in root power form. Let me return it to this. Let's carefully do that. This is this. Now this is exactly in this form. So let me return it to this. So what am I going to have? I'm going to have 4 raised to power 1.5 over what? Over 3. That's what it is. That's what it is. Because if you look at this now. Look at your 3. Look at your m. So if I'm to write it in this one, that's what it will become. And then a raised to power 1.5 over 3 will now be cube root of a raised to power 1.5. That's what it is. So in the beginning of the video, I said something. That's the first part of fractional indices. I say if an expression or a term is in this form, we can write it like this. And if it is in this form, we can also pull it back in this form, depending on what you want to do and the one that will actually give you the result you are looking for. So now that it's already in root power form, we want to return it to fractional index form. So that's what we did. And the equation is solved already. Now, this will give us 4 raised to power 0.5, because 3 divide 1.5 will give us 0.5. Now what is 0.5? 0.5 is 1 over 2. 0.5 is something as 5 over 10. And 5 over 10 is 1 over 2. Any number raised to power half is what? The square root of the number. So this is square root of 4. And that will give me what? 2. That will give me 2. Wow. That's interesting. So that's question number 5. Number 5. So let's look at the 6th one and then the 7th one before we disappear. Or before we disappear, we're going to give you some take-away questions. Very important. We'll give you some take-away questions. So question number 6, we are asked to simplify x squared over 16 all raised to power minus 1 over 4. Okay? So what's the first thing we need to do? The first thing we need to do is to remove the negative sign. So this will give us 16 over x squared all raised to power what? 1 over 4. Okay? So let's write this in root power form. This will become 4th root of 16 over x squared. 4th root of 16 over x squared. So now what is the 4th root of 16? The number you multiply 4 times to give you 16 is going to be 4. 4th root of 16. Remember, this is power of 1, but the power of 1 will not change this value. So that's why we just have to write just the 4th root. Okay? So what's the 4th root of 16? Sorry. The 4th root of 16 is 2. Sorry. Now, what is the 4th root of x raised to power 2? Is going to be x raised to power half. Don't shout, I'm going to explain. So 4th root of x raised to power 2 is x raised to power half. 4th root of 16 is 2. 4th root of x raised to power 2 is what? X raised to power half. Now let's explain this. Now whenever you are dealing with letters, to find the root of a letter, just multiply the power of that letter by the reciprocal of that root. What do we mean by that? Now, x raised to power 2 all raised to power 4 is same thing as x raised to power 8. That's you multiply this. But x raised to power 2, let me not use x, the one we have. A raised to power 4 raised to power half is the same thing as what? Square root of what? A raised to power 4, right? That's what it is. You remember? This is the base raised to fractional power. So the root, the denominator becomes the root, right? It becomes the root. Okay? Y raised to power 6 raised to power 1 over 3. The same thing as saying cube root of what? Y raised to power 6. Right? Y raised to power 6 all raised to power 1. So when you want to find the root of a number, use the power of a letter. Use the power of that letter to multiply the reciprocal of the root. So how did we arrive at this? 4th root of what? 4th root of x squared. Because we found 4th root of 16 to give us 2. So we found 4th root of 16 to give us 2. That's it. Then the problem is 4th root of what? 16. Of x squared. 4th root of x squared will give us x squared raised to power 1 over what? 4. So use the reciprocal of the root to multiply the power of the letter. So if I have cube root of y raised to power 6, it's just y raised to power 6 times raised to power 1 over 3. And at the end of the day, using power of power law, this times 1 over 3, this we divide, we now have 2. So that's how to find 4th root of a letter, or any root of a letter. So when we now say 4th root of 16 is what? Is 2. Then we now say 4th root of what? X raised to power 2 is x raised to power 2 times 1 over 4. And that will give me 2 over x raised to power half. And x raised to power half is actually square root of what? Of x. The square root of x. Now, in sort, we cannot leave the answer like this, so we need to rationalize. So if we rationalize 2 over square root of x times square root of x over square root of x. If we multiply this, we have 2 root x. When square root of x multiply itself, we are left with x. So if it is an OBJ question and you see this option is okay. But if it's not an OBJ question, you may be required to solve further, because we don't normally leave the radical as the denominator of what? Of a fraction. Now, an alternative way of doing this is for us to first of all express this 16 in powers of 2, right? We express this 16 in powers of 2. Remember, 1 over 4 is the power of 16 and also power of what? X squared. Yes, it's the power of both. So one can actually, since we have solved these questions here, let me clear this part and explain this before we move to the last question. So in that place we have 16 over x squared all raised to power 1 over 4. This thing means 16 raised to power 1 over 4 over what? X squared raised to power what? 1 over 4. That's the meaning. Because this power is distributed to this and this. It's not only 16 that has this power. No wonder the 4th root covers everything. So if you do that alternatively, what is this in root power form? We are going to say 4th root. 4th root of 16 over. Now you can just, instead of saying 4th root, you can apply power of power law. That's the power of power law that a raised to power m all raised to power n is something as a raised to power m times what? N. So if I apply it here, because I'm dealing with a letter, is going to be x raised to power 2 times 1 over 4. And what is 4th root of 16 is going to be 2. 2 times 1 over 4, 2 divide, you have 2. You have x raised to power half, which is what we have here. And then you can now write it as 2 over square root of x. Because any term raised to power half is the square root. Any term raised to power half is the square root. So you can leave the answer like this, or you go further to rationalize the denominator to arrive at this. Okay. Now let's look at the 7th question, which is similar to what we just did. Let's look at the 7th question and the last question. Question number 7, we have 1 over 81x squared, all raised to power minus 1 over 4. Okay? So that will give us, we have a negative power, so we have to remove the negative power, and this becomes 81x squared, all raised to power 1 over 4. So if I decide to apply this technique here now, this 81 has this power, and this x squared also has this power. So the power can be distributed to 2 of them. So we are going to have 81 raised to power 1 over 4, then times x raised to power, as dot, x raised to power 2, all raised to power 1 over 4. Because this is x squared, and it's also raised to this power. This 81 is raised to this power. Because generally, we know that 81x squared means 81 times x squared. That's what it means. Right? That's what it means. So if we distribute these powers, this will become 81 raised to power 1 over 4 times x raised to power 2, all raised to power 1 over 4. This raised to this power. So what is 81 raised to power 1 over 4? Is going to be the 4th root of what? 81 times, let's make it bolder, 4th root of 81 times, instead of applying 4th root here and become confused, all you need to do is to multiply using power of power. You have 2 times 1 over 4. And when you reduce that, 4th root of this is 3. What is the division here? We are going to have s raised to power 1 over 2. That's 3 times s raised to power 1 over 2 is something as square root of what? X. And 3 times this will give me 3 root what? X. Okay. So far so good. I know that some people's head is actually turning somehow, but it's nothing. So let's quickly have our takeaway questions. Let's have our takeaway questions quickly. Without taking much time, let's have our takeaway questions very quickly. Yeah. So simplify the following. 1, we have 9 raised to power minus 1 over 2 divided by 27 raised to power 2 over 3. We have number 2, 36 raised to power minus 1 over 2 times 64 raised to power 1 over 3 times 5 raised to power 0. Option 3. 16 over 81 to power minus 3 over 4 times 100 over 81 to power 1 over 2. So number 4, we have square root of 125 squared to power minus 1 over 3. You can see someone shouting. What's the meaning of this? There is no meaning of anything anywhere. So we have 125 over x goes to power 3 all raised to power minus 1 over 3. Okay, so let's enjoy these particular questions, just very simple questions that we can easily handle. So that in our next video we are going to do corrections on them, and then we can now move over to what? To equations involving what? Involving indices. Do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel and make sure you share our videos. It's very important. Leave a comment for us and also like our videos. Thank you for watching our videos today. Till I come your way next time, continue to enjoy mathematics and science fair. I love you.